Hey folks, I'm Maggie. We are back with another round of Humans of DataHub. Today we are joined with our community member named Mike. Mike, welcome. Give us a little bit of an introduction, who you are, where you work, what you do. We'd love to hear about it.
Great, thanks a lot for having me. Hey Maggie, hey community. I'm Mike, I'm 33 years old, based in Berlin in Germany, so on the European side of the DataHub. And I've been working in consulting for the last decade, mainly in like tech-heavy projects. Started off as a software engineer, working with like these typical, very boring, big enterprise applications. Then I made a little transition, worked for PwC as a manager, and then built up some RPA business in Germany. And now I'm the managing director of Contiamo. And maybe to briefly introduce Contiamo, what are we doing? We are a data consultancy. We are specialized in building data-heavy applications, but also implementing data governance and leveraging data science. So these are the three main pillars we do. And yeah, we used to be a classical SaaS startup, and because we built our own data catalog with an integrated data virtualization layer. So I have a long history with data catalogs, so fell in love with them very early. But yeah, due to the development in the space, if you look at it, so many new tools coming up, and also awesome tools like the data we are now talking about, we figured out that the success in the consulting space and the consulting business was a better adventure to take on. So we now do only individual data consultancy projects, and we work with global companies. Probably most of you know Mercedes-Benz or CBAE. These are the clients we work with, but also some small startups, and it's basically everything related to data. And we are mainly an implementation partner supporting our clients end to end.
That's awesome. So I'm curious. So I remember us talking about this when we first met, that you had kind of gone through the process of building your own data catalog, and you knew kind of, how much of an undertaking that really was. How did you stumble upon DataHub? Like, yeah, how did you end up in the community?
It's basically due to this. So obviously one part in building a product is looking at the competitors.
Yes, of course.
I made an analysis on looking at like the classical enterprise data catalog products, but also looked in open source, because open source was always something we as a company valued very highly. So we have a lot of people that are top contributors at open source projects, and basically all the projects we do, everything is open source based. So I also looked at that, and like 2 years ago, I stumbled across it, had a look, set up my own little data hub, played around a little bit, and thought like, okay, shit, this looks really good. This is a really good product. And it was very interesting also to see another product when you build it on your own, a similar product, because you see, wow, they solved this challenge so good, and we are like, okay, we really cracked at this for a long time. So basically, we had a look at all of the open source catalogs as well, and when we decided to make the switch to consulting only, we more or less let loose of our own product, and then decided on what do we think is the best data catalog product out there. And yeah, we stick with DataHub. So I joined the community maybe a little bit over a year ago. Yeah, from that moment onwards, I think it was more or less love at second sight, because the first sight was the look in the product itself. And yeah, but the community, I guess we will talk a little bit about it as well, but for me, it was a real game changer, I think.
That's amazing. Yeah, I like that love at second sight. At first, you're like, oh no, and then it's like, wait a minute, I like what I see here.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah, awesome.
That's how it is. Yeah.
Yeah. And so maybe I think this kind of question segues nicely, but like, what do you enjoy most about the DataHub community?
So I think the most important thing for me is it's remarkable how quick and helpful the community is. So basically, whenever I write something down in Slack, I know, so we have this time difference. So I think a lot of people are also based in the US. But no matter when I post something, someone will come back at maximum, I would say 6 hours. And I think that's incredible. Like, imagine you have a corporate tool, and whatever question you have, someone will come back to you with a really good answer in 6 hours. companies would pay a lot of money for that stuff. So really, that's amazing. I think it's very open-minded and very welcoming. Everyone is trying to show what you can do and how we can progress together. And so I'm not a software engineer anymore. So I used to be, but that means I program very rarely. So for me, it's sometimes even harder to really follow like everything that's happening there. But I feel everyone is really making an effort to explain it properly and give helpful advice. And so for me, it was also very easy to get onboarded in the community, although I'm not like the perfect tech expert. And so it was just a lot of fun and trying around. And there's really a lot of cool stuff around with the community. Also, documentation is really good, I need to say, which is also not very common for a lot of open source projects.
Yeah.
It's a very special community.
Yeah, that's cool. And I noticed, Mike, that I see you jump in every once in a while with kind of like, more thought-provoking questions or conversations. And so I'm personally really excited to see the trajectory of the community move beyond, just kind of like the troubleshooting support, which of course is critical and we will continue to do that. But I think there's just a lot of really great opportunities for us to have more of these kind of like, meta conversations around how do we do metadata well, right? And what are the driving components of that? So really appreciate your contributions there.
Yeah, definitely. I love to do it because that's like one of the main ways I can contribute.
Right, exactly.
Some people of the team contribute from our company. They contribute with like coding and building better connectors, whatever. But for me, also, I think I try to give some maybe little helpers. So for some projects, for example, I today just posted something like a script to just build your own JSON file so you can ingest metadata very easily and quickly.
Ooh, that's awesome.
Sheets. So I feel like there's so many cool things around. And that's like the spirit of the community is really like, let's make our life easier and adopt it and just drive the product. And that's really cool.
That's amazing. I missed that. I'm going to look at that one too, because I'm a Google Sheets power user, I guess. I don't know, whatever. Well, we'll see. I don't know about that. So I'm curious, like with the implementation of DataHub that your team has done, what are kind of the main use cases? So when you're working with your clients, and of course, share only what is reasonable. I don't expect you to, air dirty laundry or anything, but why are these, or like, why are you using DataHub? What problems are you hoping that DataHub will kind of address for your clients? And what are the use cases there?
Okay, and maybe I start off with like, we have two different paths where we use DataHub. So one path is using it internally. So we also use it for our company.
Oh, that's amazing. I didn't realize that.
Because I mean, we are an engineering company and our engineers were like, hey, first of all, we want to show clients the product. We should use it ourselves. And second, it's really nice for doing the stuff we do. So like the first real use case is really for ourselves to get hold of all the data assets we have and the infrastructure we run for clients. So we have we sometimes build pipelines for the clients and monitor them and make them run. And it was really nice and is really nice for us to like manage document stuff and knowing, okay, these are the Kubernetes clusters we have. Here are the people responsible for this and this client, things like that. So we definitely, and also for the machine learning models, for example, we use it to document stuff. That's also why I asked some questions sometimes in the Slack. The second thing obviously is the data implementation projects with clients. And I think like I have some most valuable features. I think one is definitely lineage. I love it when you have a modern data stack, which is sadly not too common in Germany yet. So I think the US is probably 2 years ahead of that. But now more and more clients, they adapt maybe the cloud data warehouse like Snowflake, BigQuery, Redshift, and also DBT is really taking off. We are also a partner with DBT, and I think this is really some great technology also coming out of the open source community, obviously.
Yeah.
And I love that lineage feature of DataHub. It's so helpful in a lot of ways, also with the tests, etc. The integration got way better over time also. So that's definitely something we see a lot of value at client side. And I mean, the main use case is efficiency, I'd say, for this lineage feature in data engineering teams. So share the information about the pipelines, also seeing the impact of changes in your data pipeline.
Yeah,
So
huge.
that's definitely a big use case. We also have seen a lot of times at clients. And I think a second one is the ownership aspect of saying, okay, who's responsible for what? And also the overview of what assets do I have? So what I really, really love is the openness of the tool. So you can ingest pretty much everything, although maybe there's no real connector for it yet, but you can still ingest that stuff through the data model. And so we built a lot of like more or less crazy stuff with, for example, KPI tracking, and
cool.
You can do a lot of things. I think maybe you remember that we also had a discussion, I think, about KPIs. It's already like a couple of months ago. And so you can really easily do this individually and showcase it to clients and build it inside a data model. And so I think there's a lot about this data discovery part and also this data governance part you can do with the data. And so therefore it's a very flexible tool. It's very open. And I think this is the main advantage of it also in terms of looking at a competitor. Obviously, it's also beautiful and very simple to use. But for me, this is like the main game changer, these two use cases.
Very cool.
Yeah, and actually kind of going off that, like, what has been your favorite DataHub feature or use case, if you can choose one?
Yeah, I'd say, I'd say, so the lineage is my favorite in terms of, because I think it's mainly because we try to build it on our own and it's really hard. So this is definitely something I appreciate the effort that has been done there and the smartness in how will you build this. And it's also pretty flexible in terms of that you can connect whatever you want. And I also like the data profiling, although I think we probably did at least as good job as you did in our product there, but it's really good anyway. And
we always take contributions.
Exactly. Let me say we have something planned.
Oh, that's great.
So that the data profiling, very helpful feature, I think, also to understand the data, and it's really a game changer in terms of from the user perspective, especially in Germany and Europe. We have a lot of regulations, I think a lot more than the US.
Yeah. Yes.
What is happening is, in terms of data protection, you probably heard about GDPR and whatever there is. This is super helpful feature for data scientists and data engineers to understand, okay, how is this data looking, and give me some samples that are like non-critical, so I do not violate anything. So I really love it, and we personally use it a lot also at the client side, but also internally for some of the data we have. So it's really good.
Awesome. So it sounds like you like the whole product, is what I'm hearing.
I need to admit, it's really for us, it's really the #1 go-to tool. And I also, so now we did a couple of implementation projects, or like as an implementation partner in Germany now. And German companies usually are pretty conservative, I need to say. And still and open source is also not really a big thing in Germany yet. So it's getting better and better. But if you look at the application landscape we have SAP as the main application provider here. And it's a very isolated, very like lock-in application, so you cannot get out of it. And it also is not very open in terms of, hey, can I give your data, exchange manager, whatever. So people are more or less like, let me have my standard infrastructure system with SAP and I'm fine. But we now did a couple of projects and bringing DataHub in, and due to the flexibility of the product and also like the overall feeling and how you can work with it, we really convinced a couple of clients with the project itself that they're like, wow, that's amazing. I didn't even know that was possible to work like this in an enterprise environment. So it's definitely a great tool. And I think it's way ahead in terms of what other open source tools can do there. And it can definitely compete with also the enterprise tools. So we actually had a project where we benchmarked DataHub. So we implemented DataHub, and they hired another agency that implemented Colibra for them at the same use case, which was like very fair, like just do it. The feedback was that the client actually liked DataHub more than Colibra. So this and I think so that's I guess.
That's so exciting. That's so cool. So I'm curious, kind of thinking about the community and your experience, getting familiar with the tool or the project. I know you're not as kind of hands-on with development anymore, which I'm sure you miss a little bit, but that's, we all move on. I miss it too. But I'm curious for folks, like if you met someone tomorrow who was joining the DataHub community or starting with DataHub, what advice would you give them to help them be successful?
So I think, first of all, do not hesitate to ask any questions. So that's really like there, first of all, no dumb questions. And second of all, people will help you in so many ways.
Yeah.
So go to Slack, sign up, or go to the Slack channel and start introducing yourself. That's also one of my favorite Slack channels, the Introduce Yourself channel.
Yeah.
Because I'm a curious person. And I love seeing so many people from different sides of the world are connecting in this community.
Yes.
So just ask, and also have a look at YouTube. I think the YouTube videos are actually really helpful. Also, some of the features. So, for example, the YouTube video about the UI extension. There's a file-based UI extension. There was a YouTube video, I think, at some point a couple of months ago, and it's still, I think, super useful to understand. This is how it's supposed to work, etc. And there's so many good resources. So I think people should first go to Slack, go to YouTube, and go to GitHub. Have a look at the GitHub examples. So my favorite place is the Bootstrap data file, because it gives a nice overview on all the assets you can put in. And for me, as a semi-technical person that can at least ingest JSON files, this is super helpful, because my engineers usually hey, let's just build this in Python and make an API call. And I say, I don't need it. I just copy paste that stuff in this JSON, and it's in there. So, and sometimes I'm quicker than that, I'd say.
Yeah, that's awesome.
So really a lot of very useful information on the GitHub and Slack and YouTube, and the documentation is also nice on the homepage. So I think these are the four main pillars of getting ready with DataHub. And just try it. It's super quick. It's really also for people that are not 100% technical. The whole community and the team, they made the product so easy to use that it's just perfect.
Love to hear that.
Yeah, that's so great. And so kind of looking ahead for the next, 6 months, year, and so on, what are you most excited to see happen with DataHub, happen within the community?
So first of all, obviously adoption, because I think the bigger the community, the better for all of us. And you see it already. I mean, the speed of implementation is crazy, which also sometimes is a challenge for big companies, I see, because so we are going in and we're like, by the way, in three weeks, there will be a new release and it will have awesome features, so you should get it. And they are usually we do half-yearly releases with our big everything. It's okay, okay. So it's really quick, and I'm looking forward to fine-grained lineage. So column-based lineage, I think this is if this is implemented well, this is really a great feature to get more detailed information, and also to provide more value to use cases, to different use cases, especially on the engineering side, but also on the side of impact analysis. So there's a lot of value in there. And I think maybe for the community, I would hope to have more people from Europe, because I think it's also good when you have a lot of people in all the different time zones to help each other. And sometimes, so basically, for example, now if I look at it, we are pretty much the first ones really doing a lot of work with SAP. Although SAP is the main system a lot of people have here. So I see that we need to get more people on board to be quicker and provide more value and discuss use cases, things like that. And so that's what I'm looking for. But I feel you guys are doing an awesome job in extending the community and making it a good place to be around. So I'm confident that this will really work out.
That's awesome.
And one thing I would love to have is some more flexibility in the UI. So I think the UI is very good, very nice, to the point of what you need. The only thing I'm missing sometimes is some more possibilities to adjust it a little bit in terms of, for example, you have a schema and add more metadata than the glossary and tags. So some people are already clients came to us and said like, look, I want to add to this column ownership and a column-based ownership.
Oh,
which
interesting.
Is, also, it's possible with data, but it's not like so easy to change the UI in a way that it really fits the need. But as I mentioned earlier, the file-based approach is already really nice. So you do not have to program anything about it. And but I think there's some potential improvements there as well. But nevertheless, I love it.
Yeah, I'm going to follow up with you on that. The column level ownership is very, very interesting and also exciting. I mean, just from a timing perspective, we have some of the team working on column level lineage, specifically impact analysis, basically extending that impact analysis to the column level. So really, really exciting stuff coming up there.
Cool.
Awesome.
I'm also looking forward to it.
Yeah. Mike, it's just been such a pleasure to speak with you. Thanks for sharing your experience with us and your time. And yeah, we really love having you in the community with us. Yeah, I'm also very grateful to be here, and thanks for the opportunity. Also, a shout out to all the people in the community. Continue doing the great work, and if someone needs any help, just contact me on Slack. I'm always happy to provide some insights in what we did and how we probably solved some of the things you are struggling with. So yeah, just reach out, and thanks a lot for having me.